So hello there and welcome. We are here doing a meditation that is dedicated to the aquamarine ray of the Divine Mother. And we have set this beautiful surrounding, this sacred space, near a turquoise white mother light water stream. And we just want to create a sacred space for meditation with the focus on this essence and the essence of our core creation self, in terms of bringing the awareness of this ray and the potential that this ray carries within, and the connection with the sacred seeding light of the Elohim. And so we wish to guide in a sacred meditation space so that we see what comes from this essence, what is birthed through it. Okay, so what we do is we close our eyes. And you can use as a visual a triangle created out of pure aquamarine frequency. And in the middle of that triangle, place the sacred frequency of the toning Om. So we will begin with the toning of the Om frequency, that we will actually move it through that triangle. So let's do that together, okay? Deep breath in. With that in-breath, see the crystalline aquamarine energy forming a beautiful triangle of light. An out-breath, and with the second in-breath, we're creating an Om frequency. And 3 times we will utter and tone the words of Om. In-breath. Now take another deep breath and anchor that beautiful aquamarine tinted ray that is forming a triangle. And now through your crown, descend that formulation of the triangle into your sacred heart chamber. And allow yourself to be fully infused with the aquamarine ray mixed with the white light of creation. And feel overwashed with the great love of the Divine Mother. From that crystalline chamber of the triangle of aquamarine, see a beautiful white spiral of light emanating, bursting out, creating a ripple effect and moving in circular rotation movements around your body. And it wraps around you from upwards to downwards so that you create a pillar of light. It is that pillar of light that holds our sacred space, where we can attune to these higher celestial frequencies, the frequencies that hold our divine blueprint for greater potential that we can bring to this new plane of existence that we are co-creating together. And now, feel how this emanating white spiral of light begins to fully anchor you into your heart, and it pulsates with the frequency of your galactic home signature. What you are doing now in your awareness and bringing it into your physical cellular memory, your physical form, so that every cell of your being can resonate with every atom of creation and pulsate with a galactic pulse of light, Now what we're doing is with our awareness, we're bringing the galactic pulse of light from our born nature as a soul individual into our physical awareness. So this aquamarine divine mother light directly links us with that maternal presence within us, that internal belonging, that home frequency that we each carry within ourselves. And before we begin to take this journey a bit deeper, we will now, as we start this journey, move into the consciousness of the great seeders of all life and creation, the holy Elohim, by channeling and toning their sound frequency of their holy sacred name. So let us take a deep breath in. Relax into your sacred heart chamber and feel how the consciousness of the Elohim seeds you, anchors you into your greater galactic potential and the birth of your prime origin existence self. Before all other forms of fragmentation and experiences begin, feel yourself as that root race, as that root individual that is about to burst into this wonderful experience of creation. And just for a moment, allow yourself to feel that space of infinite eternity that you are at your core level before you move into the crystalline levels and other than levels of density and experience. Imagine this white column of light that this white mother light created all around you, and let it fully anchor you into the synthesis of all of your different parts, all your multidimensional selves. And now what you do is you have that internal galaxy within you. You are your own universe, your own pulse of light. And imagine from that unique universe that is you, pull a cord of light, pull a white stream of light, and send it to the mother and father galaxy of our existence. Now how you see this, as you see two opposite spinning galaxies that are merging together, that are unified, producing all life on a level as we know it in our creation. So within that union of these two spirals, the alpha and omega galaxies, the mother-father essences that we call source, let us pull that white cord now and anchor it into that galactic pulse that creates all life and all further fragmentations as we know them. Still, always within that white pillar of light formation, which naturally protects us and naturally seals us in our own individual energy space, and at the same time connecting us as one in a unified field, the unity consciousness of one. So now feel and follow this white light thread, how it travels through many stories, many experiences, and how through the infinite holograms at a certain consciousness level, it enters this great giant spiral of all life, the ever and omnipresent existence that we cannot even sense as a certain rotational force anymore, because it's so vast that it's almost like we can no longer feel movement. It almost feels like static and ever present. So when we approach this level of consciousness, because it is all about consciousness, we feel how that white cord of light plugs directly into the infinite creatrix, to the infinite source of our being. We do that so fearlessly and surrendered, and knowing that as we plug back into original prime creatrix design, we don't lose a sense of the self, we don't lose a sense of our individualized path. We simply experience all that we bring forth into this body as that prime source level before all other distortions and imprints started to take place. And here, just as we're about to approach that level of consciousness, unity, union, in this great cosmic convergence that is taking place, we are greeted by these tall, luminous beings that also know no time and space, and yet the whole of creation is seated by their consciousness. So we now recognize these beings as the holy Elohim, and we can feel them as tall beings, the great majestic ones that carry forth our individuality and the individuality of all life forms into creation through divine principles that always serve the law of one. As we are greeted by these ancient beings, we feel immense wisdom of all the universe. And they give us that look. And we see how their eye is not as eyes in plural, but it's that unified eye of the single group mind that can gather divine information and with it create life in its uniqueness and myriad of forms through shaping the spiritual light DNA of all the potentials of life in existence. So the sacred holy Elohim offer us to see all of life in creation for a moment, to expand our consciousness, to raise an awareness through their pure crystalline aquamarine eye that forms now in front of us. And as we are greeted by that eye, the eye of omni-creatrix self, we're invited to take a deep look into what is being presented and offered to us. What do we see? The Elohim offer us a much grander perspective on the movement of life and the expansion of life in the eternal evolution, the constant infinite expansion of the realities, within realms, within densities of experience. And through that singularity perspective, they show us an eye that is unified. Let thy eye be single. And that eye opens the gateway to singularity consciousness, to the core knowing of who we are in our truth and how all life was seeded through that basic establishment of the great source, infinite potential. So as we are being offered this eye, this singularity, this crystalline magic, what do we see? What are we being shown? What are we being initiated into? Even if we don't see anything or feel anything, we now move into the space that all is as it should be, and that unification is already unfolding within us. So what we're actually doing is we're being restored back to the core imprint of creation, that as it begins to seed a certain reality through the crystalline web of creation, it creates, as the flower of light patterning, the 64 pillars of creation. And through those pillars, all life forms start to be birthed through and formulate within their own way. So the pillars of creation are always that which is the prime design before the triangulation of myriad of forms experimentation takes place. So those are the prime keys of the creation as it starts to formulate a certain reality and a certain consciousness that flourishes from it. So now we begin to connect with this level by feeling how we, as these individualized balls of light, luminescent orbs of light, we're being infused with this crystalline grid of 64 light points, that we also receive our own templates of our crystalline creation core, that once again we're being restored back to our prime design nature, not that of the distorted matrix, but plugging right back into this creatrix consciousness and restoring back within ourselves this prime light DNA and the creation principles that are hidden and written within it. So that it's almost like we are decoding that which was encoded within us in our light DNA. Because we all were already seeded through that same consciousness that always seeds all life in creation. Now we're just calling it forth, we're reactivating it back. We're reunifying with it. So as we feel ourselves as this unique ball of light being wrapped around with the flower of light crystalline grid, creating 64 points of light that will act almost like acupuncture points for our light body, so that through these points we will receive light information that is pure and coming directly from our source, not distorted and not coming from any other levels and realms that are not within full unity, that are not within creation principles of one. So now as we feel this and as we receive this gift from the Holy Elohim, we are now ready to move further on, deeper into the great consciousness of the One and the All, the Omni of all existence. And that is why we were invited to tone the sacred words of Om, to open that space for that consciousness. So we still feel how from that bubble of luminescent light, which now begins to radiate more and more, it starts to be more luminescent. We're traveling from that deeper into the abyss of the omnipotent, omnipresent existence of Source, ready to plug our own cord of white light into that infinite creatrix self, full of infinite potential, never static, and yet feeling like, in a way, there's no movement. It's infinite and eternal at the same time. So as we move deeper into this consciousness, we also feel that by plugging into it, we embrace ourselves as this consciousness that is pure. It is untainted. It is source infused. And now we are given these sacred words. I am made by the image and likeness of the Mother, Father of all existence. I pulsate through the living life creations of the great majestic Elohim, the carriers of life forms throughout vast worlds of creation. And I carry this innate design and I awaken it within myself as that I am that I am. And I am. I am pure consciousness. And this pure consciousness is what ignites every cell of my being, and it drives forth all of my journeys within the one journey of the one and all. So as we feel those words within our being and within the vastness of space and time, we are now ready, as reclaiming our role as divine children of all creation, to move that space of awareness back into our physical form. We thank the whole of existence and the great majestic Elohim, as we're now ready to take back our descent into the world where we exist right now, into the world of matter, into the world of infinite potentials to be not just felt, but also experienced and manifested. And with this pure consciousness, we're actually seeding those new birds through that prime creatrix design of our very own core nature, as the self, the great I am, of our originality, of our uniqueness, of our greatness. Because as all creation is great and divine, so are we. We simply are reigniting those sacred flames and reawakening to that divine remembrance which is within us, and us alone. Now we also see, as we travel down into our bodies and into this world of existence that is beautiful and precious, and to be restored and maintained on that prime creation level, we feel that it's not just us that have gotten this memory back, but there's many other fellow travelers and movers of light. And we are ready to join with them to immerse in the greatness of love in human form, and to remember ourselves as the form that always wants to expand and ignite this infinite potential to restore back that perfection. And that perfection means that we actually live to the accordance of these sacred divine principles and the pillars of creation. And so now we see how we connect our own flower of life patterning that we have received as that sacred temple, and that template for a new design that was always there and always is there. And we merge it together with all other activated flower of life essences within other individuals that are ready to merge their energies and creations together as one. For form was never separate from spirit. And because form exists, it already has purpose. And so we embrace the very nature of our form and the purpose that it carries within great designs and great experiments that are always unfolding in the vastness of creation, to carry the seed of life and the beauty of experience of that life, as we embrace our true roles as divine ambassadors, as beings of light and space travelers. So we move back to the triangle space within our hearts, the aquamarine triangle. And now once again, we will complete this ceremony with the sacred attunement of the frequency Om. But this time, we will use a lower octave of that sound frequency to really ground this consciousness in our physical experience. So we're now, instead of creating an opening, we're moving from that opening into bringing it into physical embodiment, so that it moves through us and into the ground and into the earth, and connecting with the inner sun, which is connected with all the other suns and the great central sun. So as we're moving this frequency, we're connecting that space of an opening with the space of embodying. So here we go.